Hey there, friends. Kevin here from the MSOTD Rocks YouTube channel, and today is day 6 of the 2020 year-end awards, and now we're looking at the best of the best. This is our top 10 best songs of 2020. Before we get started, please follow MSOTD Rocks on places like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You will get the 30-second song of the day feature on all those platforms, and it's a different song every single day from a band in the rock and metal scene or their subgenres as well that is rather prominent today, was prominent beforehand, or is up and coming. So you will get a vast array to expand your musical knowledge. We also post anytime anything comes out on the YouTube channel, the podcast. We ask you a lot of questions. And on Tuesday nights on Instagram, we post IGTV videos, which is a behind the scenes look at what's going on here. And every single Wednesday, we go live at 9 p.m. Central for you to come talk with us, hang out for an hour, and enjoy. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel because not only will you get the year-end awards, you will also get many different videos that we come out with, and make sure you're notified when they come out every single Wednesday night. Videos such as our album reviews, the Kevin Figures Out series, where I try and figure out if I like certain bands that I do not know that very well in the scene today. Different videos about the emerging bands in the scene today, from the Italian metalcore scene to the emerging bands that I have found, emerging bands on the podcast, female fronted emerging bands, and of course different top 10 lists. So you're going to want to check those out as well. And it's also where the Chord Progression podcast lives. It is our very own podcast where we are talking with all the emerging rock and metal bands in the scene today and really getting a deep dive look into who they are, and you're not going to get this stuff anywhere else. We have talked with bands such as King Collapse, GFM, Throw the Fight, Kill the Light, Saul, Ego Kill Talent, Outlier. I mean, you name it, we've probably done it, and we're going to have even more coming up in 2021. Episodes come out every single Tuesday and Thursday. You can watch them here on YouTube, or you can listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and iHeart Radio. Links in the description below, so like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, and let's get to it. So a bit of background before we jump into it. This is just the best song that it has to be in the rock and metal genre or any of their subgenres, so pretty much anything goes at this point because we're looking at the best of the best overall. And of course we look at 10 because we want to give those 10 the right amount that's due to them. Take a look at past winners though. In 2018 we picked The Old Me by Memphis May Fire because while it wasn't as hard as some of their older stuff, it still had this great hard rock sound, this great primal drive to it that really did connect with us at the time. Plus there was a little bit of Unclean Scream from Matty Mullins in there that I thought was really well done. Unfortunately, I didn't find out about Ice Nine Kills until 2019, so a song like A Grave Mistake could have easily taken this. And in 2019, I was going to pick something by Alter Bridge because it really connected with me until Ronnie Radke showed up with Popular Monster, and that was my pick for the best song of the year in 2019, which is why you won't see it on this list. The blending on that one, the heaviness of it, just everything was so well done. It is one of my favorite songs of all time, and I am still heavy on that song. I listen to it pretty much every single day, so I know I got that one right. Let's see what 2020 does. At number 10, we have the song Uprise by the band King Collapse. I still remember when Jonathan Norris sent me this song early and I listened to it, I was just like, oh my god, you guys have a hit on your hands. Taking a listen to it, it has this great anthemic feel right from the intro, and it's going to remind you a lot of 3 Days Grace anthemic style, like Animal I've Become. It's a great drive, a great pace to it from the get-go. When you get into the verses on this song, I love what they do here because they kind of do a contrast style within the measures where in one measure, Jonathan Norris is going to be standalone on vocals, and you're going to have a little bit of a drum beat behind there, but then when the full-on instrumentation comes in the second measure, my god, Jonathan's voice just kind of carries on, and just you get this great contrast going on. It's a great anthemic dry feel. Plus, always hitting the bass drum at 1, 2, 3, and 4, really gives that march style to it. Listening to Jonathan Norris's vocals though, he reminds me of a mix between Adam Gontier and former Saliva singer Josie Scott, and it's just a great sound because you have that roughness in there, but it's a great hard rock feel that really amps up everything as you go through the verses. And the chorus, it slows it down and it allows Jonathan to build with his vocals as well, so you get to that chorus. It's a great transition point here. Plus, when you get to the chorus, when it has that full-on hard rock anthemic style, just the difference in contrast that it had with those first and second measures in the verses, along with that pre-chorus, really makes this pop, and it has this great hard rock sound. Even the bridge does this very well as terms of a full-on transition from the second chorus to the last chorus as well. It is a really great move. And overall, this was a great song, a great showing from King Collapse. It was the #1 song in Octane for 2 straight weeks back in July, and this has really set the band for success coming in 2021. Great great job, guys. Glad I got to really be a little bit of a part of that, and can't wait to see what 2021 brings for you guys. And coming in number 9, I have the song Far Away by Breaking Benjamin. Now, I know I said I was disappointed with the Aurora album overall with its lack of acoustic reimagining of these songs, but with Far Away being a brand new song in 2020 and knowing the power that Ben Burley's vocals have, I thought this had a chance to be a home run hit, and it was. But before I talk about Ben Burley's vocals, I have to talk about the instrumentation. The focus with the backbone being on the piano really gave this song a depressive and very impactful emotional sound as well. And what I really loved they did with the verses in this one was they really let the guitar sound like they were being plucked, the acoustic guitars that is. So it added this different flavor to it, this different sound, and it really added this more of this impactful sound. But then as the drums ended up picking up, you got a little bit less of that plucking style, more of the strumming style. When you got into the chorus though, the piano was still there as the backbone and the drums were there as the backbone as well, but the guitars went more strumming style, so you had a little bit more of a flow to the vocals overall as the vocals matched with what the guitar was doing. I thought this was a great move to really bring out this more depressive and more emotional feel to it, so this really worked out well on an instrumental standpoint. But the biggest reason this song ends up on here is how Ben Burley's vocals really work out with this, because we know that his unique sound really can give this different, weird, emotional, impactful feel to it. And when I listen to his vocals on this, they remind me of like the verses of Give Me a Sign and the verses of Until the End. But it had this deeper, a little bit more darker and more depressive tone to it. And that just added so much more to the emotional impactfulness behind this song, because it was so heavy and it hits you right in your heart with that piano, but the vocals just really add to it. And with Scooter Ward on this, he kept the same style that Ben Burley did, but just had a little bit of a higher pitch to it with a natural, more higher pitch style to his vocals. But that contrast just worked out so well because it was minimalistic, but it was just enough to make sure that you got hit with like a little bit of a different emotional style. While it may not have been their best album, this was one hell of a song.
The ones we leave behind. The ones we leave behind.
At number 8, I have the song The Ones We Leave Behind by Trivium. When they released What the Dead Men Say in April, Matt Heafy said that this album was going to be like a compilation between all the different sounds that they had on all their previous albums, and yeah, they hit it out of the park with this one, really bringing back that Sin in the Sentence feel. When you listen to the intro, you're going to get that rapid, heavy drumming from Alex that really reminds you of the intro to Sin in the Sense. But when you listen to the guitar work as well, what I liked about it wasn't as high pitched as Sin in the Sense, and it gave a little bit more of a lower tone, but it was just as fast. So it added a little bit more of a deeper tone overall to the song, and it really started out in a very interesting light. I was like, oh boy, this is going to be interesting. Let's see where this goes. When you get to the verses, it keeps up that exact same pace, that exact same flow, so you're really keeping that energy going through it. But when you listen to Matt Heafy's vocals on this, he keeps it a little bit darker, a little bit deeper, a little bit more sinister, but it is completely clean throughout the whole entire thing. So it just adds so much more vigor, so much more power to this song with the rapidness behind it. I really enjoyed this from this point. It was fantastic. Then we get to the chorus, and it was something that was even cooler. The chorus for the majority on this song was, again, much faster paced and continued to do that, but the instrumentals weren't as rapid and weren't as consistent. They kind of broke up at certain points, and this just added more dynamics to that concentrated sound that the verses ended up going with. But Matt Heafy's vocals really what helped this out, because they kept that rough, sinister, darker, but clean style for the most part, and had some unclean accenting vocals just added to the dynamics overall and added to the energy. When you get to the bridge on this song though, oh boy, this was something that was a little bit more slower pace driven by less heavy drums and a higher, more shred-like style guitar. And this is fantastic because it allows the song to take on a separate identity and really become more of a dynamic feel through its over 4-minute runtime. I wish this song wouldn't have faded out, but in the end, this song stuck with me since that album released, and yeah, it comes in at number 8. At number 7, I have the song Forget Me Too by MGK featuring Halsey, and yes, I think this song deserves a spot on this list. Taking a look at the construction behind this one, in the verses, they have this faster paced energy that takes a lot of influence from a sloppier hi-hat and a very hit on a consistent snare, and the pace really gives that more punk flavor to the pop punk sound, but the guitar playing is cleaner, slightly heavier sound really adds more of that energetic pop track to the pop punk sound, so you really get a good mix here. Then MGK's vocals on the verses, play with this more laid-back yet rough style vocal, and it really works out well here because it gives the song this energy in the verses that really allows the chorus to stand out when we get to it. It's a really great build overall that we're getting to this. When we get to the chorus though, the instrumental construction is a lot more classic pop punk with its not as vigorous style, but it still has that heavy hi-hat, heavy snare hit. Again, this is very consistent from Travis Barker, who had a huge hand in helping on this album. MGK sings with the same tones in the verse, and this was something I wasn't too big on for this whole entire album, that MGK's vocals really don't have that range to hit some of the higher notes and more dynamic notes that you need for a pop punk track, but it works in this song because the contrast with the Halsey feature so well. The Halsey feature is really what makes this song on this list, trust me on this. This will probably be the first time I'm saying this, but usually when I see rock tracks with Halsey being a feature, I'm like, oh no. This one though had me going like the Kool-Aid Man, oh yeah! But why is that? Her vocal style played the same overall instrumental structure that MGK did, but her higher pitched vocals had a stronger sound, and they bring back feelings of all those great female vocalists in the pop punk scene from back in the day. And plus the faster paced style, it's the mixture that really takes this as the overall powerhouse that makes us think that Halsey could easily do a pop punk album on her own. It was such a great mix on this one, and it works out with MGK so well because her vocals are so powerful than the more flat style of MGK's, so that you get that great in contrast when you hear MGK in verse 1 and you hear Halsey in verse 2 and chorus 2. But when they mix it in the last chorus and they do a more duet style, it just brings out this great contrast overall, which really creates a full-on pop punk sound that is complete. It was a great choice to put on here, and I stick by it. Coming in number 6 at the song Event Horizon by the band Wild Ways, and this is one I didn't know about until I got to interview Tolly for the Chord Progression podcast, and oh my god, I was blown away the first time I heard it. So why is this song absolutely incredible? The intro piano that also incorporates some string electronic influences, it really does stand out because it's odd to see how that creates this deeper and somewhat kind of creepier vibe, but it's also intriguing, kind of like a horror movie. You can't stop watching because you want to know what's going to happen next. But then when you get to the verses, oh my lord, this intrigue really paid off here because we get this faster paced drumming style with some of the subtleness of a Napoleonic guitar style that adds more to a higher pitch to the guitar, and this contrast works out so well against the drumming. But with the vocals, there is something even crazier because the unclean vocals from Tolly on this song are just absolutely nasty here. They have that snarl effect to them that really has that contrast against the guitar so well that it hits you right in the face, and you just want to hear more and more and hear what happens when you get to the pre-chorus. In the pre-chorus, we get some of the instrumentals that come out with those more longer drawn-out notes that also have the piano influence really prevalent there, and the strings as well. However, with that slower pace, it creates a great thing for a transitional point to get us into what the chorus is going to be. But Tolly's vocals are really what's down because he keeps that rough snarl sound, but he's speaking in Russian at this point. And when he's speaking in his native Russian tongue, he has such a much vigorous energy behind it that you can really understand the anger and the feeling that is behind that voice. And you don't even have to know what the words are. It was fantastic to go into the chorus with this, and then when you get to the chorus, yeah, it was the perfect blend here. The chorus changes it up and we get a contrasting style against the verses in the pre-chorus as well, and I really do like how this works out, so let me explain. The instrumentals keep that pacing real well that the verses had, but they take more of this hard rock approach with the Napoleonic guitar style. And it does a great job to make sure that the contrast is tied into the verses here, so the difference does not feel forced nearly at all. It feels very natural along with the transition from the pre-chorus. But Tolly goes clean with his vocals, and he speaks in English here now, and this gives the massive contrast between the verse and the chorus, once again, even more prevalent of a nature. Because the biggest part about this is there's no force here to make that transition happen. The transition from a cleaner style in English from a rougher style in Russian just feels very natural on this song at this point. It was fantastic to hear. I love the way it sounds, I love the way it flows, and I think you guys will really love it as well once you check it out. The breakdown is more melodic and it brings in some of this heaviness that is really rounds the sound out really nicely. So overall, this was something I was absolutely shocked at when I heard, and if you looked at our best albums from emerging bands in the scene, their album Anna, which was featuring Event Horizon on it, came in at number 5. I'm so glad I got to know it. I'm so glad I got to talk to Tolly about it, and my god, you guys gotta check this bad boy out. Coming in number 5 we have the song Panic by From Ashes to New. Before the song dropped, From Ashes to New was really focusing in on doing a lot of covers of different bands and their sound for Instagram, for YouTube, that really helped them out early on at the beginning of the pandemic. However, we needed something more from them, something new from them that was original, and to really make sure that that success and that notoriety was going to continue to grow and sustain for the long term. And Panic was the first single, and oh my god, this hit on every single level. Right from the beginning, with a more electronic but hard rock vibe, you got the feeling that they were inspired by Linkin Park's early work on works like Hybrid Theory and Meteora. And once the guitar is really hitting with the drums, this shows they had even more of that hard rock mix to it. It's done very well to bring you into the song overall. When you get into the verses though, you feel like you're gonna get that Linkin Park, Meteora, or Hybrid Theory instrumentation style mixed with some of the Vermashus and New Flare. What I mean by that is the instrumentation from this point, the drums seem more focused on the toms and snares on 2 and 4, but the electronic influences really remind us a lot of what Linkin Park did back in the day. But when you listen to Matt's rapping on this one, in comparison to, let's say, Mike Shinoda, Matt's raps are a little bit more focused, a little bit more rough at times too, but the flow is there, so this gives a different feel to that Vermashus new flavor. It was really well done. The pre-chorus got us going crazy, because when you listen to the pre-chorus on this song, the instrumentals, whenever Danny's singing, the pre-chorus, the instrumentals behind it sound like they're being longer, drawn up, but when Matt's rapping, they're faster paced, so it really fits in well with the vocal style. And with Matt's raps, yeah, you get the same style as well, and it's a great contrast to what Danny's doing with a much harsher scream style side that he goes on with this. But when he screams, look, the scene has been missing a lot since Chester Bennington unfortunately left us in 2017, and we have not heard anything like him since. Danny Case's vocals on this pre-chorus had me thinking, is this Chester reincarnated? It had this great sound with this great anger to it, but it was clean and understandable at the same time as well. I absolutely loved every minute of it. Then you get to the chorus, and it is more melodic. It has more of that hard rock tone to it as well. But with Danny's vocals being a lot cleaner on this, it does remind me a lot of Chester Bennington this time too. It was something that just stuck out in my mind that was like, oh my god, we have this back once again. It was fantastic to hear. And even the way they went with the bridge and the breakdown, oh my god, he kind of had that build in the vocal with Danny Case, and then just the screaming that he did with the harder instrumentals on the back end. Holy crap, was this a absolute home run like from Vermashus and New. While I wasn't the biggest fan of the Panic album overall, there is no doubt in my mind that Vermashus and New is going to grow, and that Panic was a top 5 song through 2020. Coming number 4, I have the song Erase Me by the band Make Them Suffer. And Erase Me comes on here because of just how the great construction of the song really works. When you take a look at the intro, it has this intro piano sound which really makes you intrigued, because it's like a slower build into it. So you're thinking, okay, this might be something a little bit more intriguing, more interesting. And it's got a little bit of a pace to it, but you're like, okay, where are they going to go with this? Then when you hear the first word just screaming, erase me, and the band going full on rapid, heavy metalcore, rapid drumming, massive down-tuned guitars, just in your face roughness. This was something that reminded me of Shadow Moses in a way. And what I mean by that is, imagine Shadow Moses where you have that intro and everyone's kind of separated from the wall of death, and right when you hear the word going nowhere and the instrumentals hit and everyone just smashed into each other, Erase Me hits this the exact same way with a much faster pace, even more aggressive. It was fantastic to hear this from the intro. I was hooked right from that moment. But as we get to the verses, this fast-paced, high-energy feel stays consistent throughout the whole entire thing. The drumming is super heavy, it's super fast-paced, and the guitar work for most of it is really down-tuned and chugging, but there is one guitar that's playing a little bit slower, a little bit more melodic in contrast with it. And what I love about this was it gives the song a three-dimensional feel off of that. It gives it a more complete sound instead of something that's just chugging straight in your face. Plus the unclean male vocals at this point, ooh, are they good. They just rough it in your face. I absolutely love it. We get to the chorus, and they do slow things down though with a more prevalent keyboard style playing here. A little bit slower, a little bit more melodic, but it still hits with all that vigor. But this is where the contrast between the female vocals and then accenting unclean male vocals really stands out, because it still hits heavy, it still hits hard, but it hits in a completely different emotional way with that Erase Me style. My god, this was just a great construction overall going into this. Then we go into the outro and the bridge, and they really slow it up overall with the bridge and the outro. They kind of bring back more what they did in the chorus, and it's just this more call and response style with a call from a chanting style clean vocal to an unclean scream. It's something that just ends the song so perfectly well. I absolutely love the song through and through. It is something that ended up like on my workout playlist like 2 days after I heard it, and it's still there. I still love listening to the song. It deserves to be number 4. Coming number number 3, I have the song Aftermath by the Ghost Inside. Following their horrific bus crash and triumphant return back in 2020, the Ghost Inside started their comeback with their self-titled album with this song Aftermath, and I don't think they could have picked a better song to come back with. But why does this deserve a spot at number 3? Let me tell you. When you listen to Aftermath from the beginning, you get the slower paced intro, but all of a sudden it's going to pick up, it's going to get faster paced, but it's going to stay melodic with its metalcore style. And it really works well for the band with this triumph over tragedy story, because the drums play with this more dynamic style, but the guitars are lighter. They still have this rough distortion to them, but oh man, does this really give the song more of this heavy and reflective feel to it overall. And I absolutely love this every step of the way, because when the verses come, we get a faster style from the drums, so we do get that pickup feel to it, more that energetic feel to really amp up what's going on here, while keeping the guitar tones more melodic constructed to them. So you get that contrast in there, but you still get the connection with the intro. And then Jonathan going all unclean here. This is very vintage Ghost Inside on this. I absolutely love how this started out and we got into the chorus. The chorus is absolutely perfectly, because it takes the pace that the verse had, mix it with the melodic style that the intro had here, and the higher distorted guitars really play off both the reflection feel of the song. And the faster, more energetic pace on Jonathan's vocals in this part really works so well to create the feeling of getting through something even more horrible. But then the breakdown in the middle where you hear Jonathan just scream, "Triumph over tragedy," and it gets slow, melodic, and just really in your face with the heaviness of it. This was perfect, especially with adding the breakdown right in the middle of the song and not closer towards the end. It really gave the song a full-on dynamic feel. But the bridge is really where the song stands up, because they end up going a lot softer, and Jonathan ends up singing very clean on this part, so you really get this full-on reflective feel to it. But the primal part of the song is right after he's done singing clean, and he just lets out this scream, and then you get this instrumentation that goes right back into what the chorus would be. And it's just strong, it's powerful, and it really makes you feel like this is a scream that they let out all their frustrations on. This was the true triumph over tragedy. Overall though, my God, this was absolutely incredible to listen to. You really feel like when you listen to this that you can overcome anything. If the Ghost Inside can tell their story through the song and do it so damn well and overcome what they overcame, yeah, you can do it as well. A little side note for you guys: after the George Floyd protests began and this album came out, their bassist Jim Riley ended up being kicked out of the band for some past things that had happened. He has worked to rectify them, and he is officially back in the band as of November. So I still think this song deserves a spot at number 3. It was fantastic. I know Loudwire put on their best metal songs of 2020. It's like one of the only ones I agreed with. So yeah, this one was good. Coming at number 2, I have Kingslayer by Bring Me the Horizon featuring Baby Metal. When I first saw that Baby Metal was going to be on a Bring Me the Horizon track, especially after hearing what Amo was like, what their songs too was like, I was like, oh boy, what the heck is this going to be? But then after listening to the singles off the Posthumous Federal Horror, I thought, okay, I wonder what the heck this is actually going to sound like. And what we got was the best possible kind of collaboration on this. From the intro, you get this more like video game cyberpunk kind of style, but then once the full instrumentation comes in and Ollie starts screaming, it has this like cyberpunk metalcore high energy feel to it with a little bit of J-pop in there. So you're thinking right from the get-go, okay, this could easily work out because it's highly energetic, it's heavy, it's in your face, but how is Ollie's vocals going to play off on this? And when we got to the verses, we got our answer, because we started out being a little bit more in the first verse, a little bit more clean, but then when you heard the deathcore scream come in there, it was just the perfect addition to there, because then you got some more unclean screams, more cleaner screams like you got on Shadow Moses, and it just was this perfect mix, because you got the heaviness that Bring Me the Horizon was going for on this song. You got the heaviness from all their discography right in this one song from Ollie's vocals, and the faster paced, harder sound from not only the electronic styles, but from the instrumentals as well, especially the drumming and the down-tuned guitars was perfect. Then I'm wondering, how the heck are they going to use Sue Metal in this for Baby Metal to really make this stand out? And when you got to the chorus, Sue Metal's vocals were more melodic. She sung in English too, but that high energy pace that really played off both more of a J-pop sound with a cyberpunk feel just made this song sound so complete, and it really worked out well to bring up the best that Sue Metal had to offer on this track. It sounded like a full-on, like, perfect anime opening in itself. This song was absolutely fantastic, and in the second verse, you get Sue Metal going back to her Japanese vocals, but they're clean, and then mixing them in with Ollie's deathcore screams. Holy crap, was this just the perfect way to encapsulate this song. In the second half of the song, after the first and second verse and first, second chorus, it does slow up with the vocals, but just the heaviness of the song and the high energy feel still to it really works out well with Ollie Sykes' deeper, darker screams along with his rougher singing voice, and Sue Metal's clean, more upbeat singing voice, because the heaviness is there to work with Ollie, but the energy is there to work with Sue Metal. It was a perfect collaboration, full on, full force, and it is one of my favorite songs of the year. I absolutely love it, but just not enough to make my number one spot, guys. I think there's one that just beats it out, so what could it be? Before I reveal my pick for the best song of 2020, let's take a look at what you, the fans, thought. I think I actually thought that that's what it was going to be. Or maybe not. Depends upon where Al posted it. So who's number one? Coming number one, I have the song Above My Head by the band Polaris. But why is this deep cut from Polaris' album The Death of Me the number one song of the year? Let me tell you why. This song tackles the feeling of depression and how depression can overtake you, and just trying to overcome it can be so overwhelming at times and really feel like you're going to fail, that even when you tell people about it, you feel like you're going to end up succumbing to what it all has, and it's just really hard to get over. And I can attest to this personally because I went through this in 2017 and early in 2018, so this is something that really does hit home with me. And listening to the intro right off the bat with the more rapid drum style, I should say, and the Napoleonic guitars tone, oh my god, is this perfect, because the rapid drum pace gives the song the energy and the more faster paced, upbeat tempo to really create more of a fever pitch here. But the Napoleonic guitars with the higher sound to it really create more of that overwhelming quality to the song that really is needed to make sure that this message overcomes. Then you get to the verses, and holy crap, the same style is had here, but what ends up happening is you get the vocals. They're unclean, they're rough, but you can clearly hear exactly what they're talking about here, and this just adds so much more to it because it creates that fever pitch. It lets you understand where the song is going, and the pre-chorus coming in on this after the first verse, oh boy, it just amped up the instrumentals even more. The pace gets picked up, the drumming gets even more rapid, and it just gets in your face till you get to the chorus, which really amps up the feel of this depression building up inside you and just struggling to overcome it. In the chorus on this one, the drumming is absolutely spectacular because it's more melodic. It has some dynamic fills in there. The Napoleonic guitars are melodic and higher pitched as ever, but the vocals are the cleanest on all of The Death of Me here, and it is the perfect move because the instrumentals really make the melodic style here work to amp up what the feeling of admitting that you're going through this and the pain of having to admit this. The clean vocals though, oh my god, just hearing I'm a wreck, I confess, I've been so far above my head, I've been telling everyone that I can't bear the weight. It hits so heavily because they're more melodic in the clean style, but it speaks so well to the anguish that people go through in this. It is insane, but it's great. And then the bridge of this song, it keeps that heaviness to there. The Napoleonic guitar style is gone, and they go a lot rougher with what they're going with, the more metalcore style, but it's more melodic throughout the whole entire thing, and the unclean vocals really take charge in this, so it feels like you're just trying to beat down this depression. It feels like there is a war going on here, and that is what it feels like when you're trying to go through this alone, and they perfectly encapsulated here on this song. It was something that I remember listening to the first time while driving to go and see Falling in Reverse back in February of 2020, and I was going through the whole Death of Me album, and when this song came on again, I was just like, wait, what? And then I listened to it again, and it just clicked in my head that this song was absolutely incredible with the way that it described depression and the way that it sounded to really encapsulate what the feel is. I think that is the mark of a truly great song, and that is why it's the best song of 2020. That's gonna be for me today, guys. Thank you for watching and listening. This was our top 10 list of the best songs of 2020. What do you think was the best? Do you think I got it right, got it wrong? Put your comments in the description below, or the comment section below, I should say. And that's gonna be it for me. Best albums of the year, the last one we got is coming up tomorrow. This is Kevin from the MSOD Rocks YouTube channel. Let's end it with a hat flip. Not fully on my head, but it works. So see ya!